Looking for a great read? Dave Rios here from the Kona 1011 Morning Show. It's always a great read when Dean Koontz comes out with another incredible psychological thriller. Dean Koontz, welcome back. Tell us about it.
Ashley Bell is the name of the book, and the lead character is a young woman named B.B. Blair. B.B.'s a 22-year-old writer, published her first novel. She's engaged to a Navy SEAL who's overseas on a Black Ops mission, and her life looks like a glide path through blue skies. But one morning she wakes up with some strange symptoms, goes to the hospital, same day is diagnosed with a rare kind of brain cancer and given less than a year to live. And when the doctor tells her she's got less than a year, B.B. says, "We'll see." That's the kind of girl she is. She's a tough cookie who leans into the problems of life and wouldn't have it any other way. And she, in fact, 2 days later, it goes into total remission, the only person ever to do so with this. And she's mystified. The doctors are mystified. But B.B. gradually gets the idea that she was saved in order that she might save someone else. And by various means, she comes across the name Ashley Bell. And there's this young girl out there, 12 or 13, somewhere in great jeopardy, and B.B. means to find her and save her. And that search becomes an obsession. And pretty quickly, B.B.'s in the midst of some very bad people up to some very bad things.
So this world that she is searching for Ashley in, why is it mystical and worldly at the same time?
Well, now I can't. It's the search for this girl, Ashley Bell, it's a real major epic search, and from time to time, supernatural elements begin to enter it. And it's nevertheless a grounded, real-world story for the most part. It has the biggest surprise of anything I've ever done, and so I tiptoe around certain issues when I'm talking about it. I don't want to give the surprise away.
I love the mystical worlds that you create. It's and I know a lot of research goes into this. What kind of research needed to go into the new novel, Ashley Bell?
Well, fortunately, I set it here in Orange County, Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, places I knew, so I didn't have to do much research on place this time. But there was a great deal of research on a number of other issues, medical among them. And this is a story about do we have free will and shape our lives, which Ashley believes that she'll make of her life. She'll face anything thrown at her, where her parents believe that fate settles our lives. And that is getting those two worldviews and giving them both equal justice in this. I come down on Ashley's side, but I understand the other view as well. And that took a lot of research, a lot of thinking. So, yeah, there's always research, but as a kid who didn't like doing that when I was in high school or college, it surprised me that the research into all manner of things is now one of the things I like the most.
And that seems to consume your time. If you're not writing, you're researching, right?
Pretty much, because you keep running into subjects like normally in a book like this, if a woman was engaged to a Navy SEAL, you would expect him to show up pretty soon in the story and start helping out, and that's not the way this story works. She can't rely on him. He's on overseas, and in fact, she doesn't really need to rely on him. But I do have some scenes with him overseas, and those were really daunting to research because they're some action scenes, and you need to get the weaponry right, the aircraft right, the procedure right. But it's, as I said, it leaves you with a little time to do other things, but it is also in its way fun.
It sounds like a great read for lovers of the military and things tactical.
It's not the major part of the story because you cut to him, but when he comes back stateside, then he gets more involved in her problems, and but she's a military thinker in a way. It's a book about imagination and the power of books, and books that she read as a child that has big influence on how she manages to save herself again and again in this story.
I love how books rescued you as a child, Dean Koontz, because you grew up in a 400-square-foot shack. Your father was not the ideal father, and you needed to escape, didn't you?
That's partly, I often say my father, who was a violent alcoholic and barely held a job most of his life, was actually gave me my career because I escaped into books then. I was not an unhappy kid. I could always find something I liked, and books was one of them, that was something that made me happy. But books also showed me not just escape, but showed me other ways to live. And when you're a kid in a situation like that, there's a tendency to think when the doors close on other houses, it's the same there. But, of course, it isn't. And so I got my career out of that, and books saved me. And it's kind of fun to be able to write about it and also to get mail from readers to say that my books have helped them the same way other writers' books helped me when I was a kid.
And you do such a variety of books. I mean, from your dog books to your psychological thrillers to Odd Thomas. It's such a variety. We love that.
That's, I have a publisher at the moment who seems happy with that. Over the years, it's often been a point of contention because publishers would like you to write exactly the same book every time so that they can pinpoint your audience. But I bore too easily, so I have to entertain me. And in Ashley Bell, when I thought of the big twist, I was only about 4 chapters into it, and I was sitting here in my chair literally bouncing up and down like a 4-year-old. So, and, I have to entertain me is what it comes down to first thing.
So you didn't know going in what the big twist would be. Do you do like a little prayer or something? Like, okay, reveal it to me. Come on, reveal it to me.
No, I know I've done it long enough that I know somehow or other this will reach a credible explanation. I knew that in this one I had to really convince the reader about this remission of cancer, and that was going to take a lot of medical detail at some point, and it had to be made interesting. But then when this twist came along, it presented me with an even bigger problem, and making sure the reader could go with it, that when the big twist comes, they could go back and reread and see it was all right in front of them, but they never tumbled to it. That was the big challenge with that. So far, I've had about 100 reactions, mostly from people in my business life who've read it, my publishers, editors around the world, and so far nobody tumbled to it, so I feel very good about that.
We're talking with Dean Koontz's newest novel, Ashley Bell. You can hear my dog rattling his collar in the background. How are your dogs doing?
My dog, Anna, is, she just gets, they never stop amazing you. She's 9.5 now, and she evolves. She's the last few years, we've all noticed she's gotten more vocal. She doesn't bark, but she's developed all kind of little noises that she makes, and we're starting to identify what some of those noises mean. And it's just fascinating to me. She really is trying to talk to us. And, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't get back to sleep because you're worried, and that dog comes and puts its head on your chest and you put your arm around it, you go back to sleep because nothing else matters then.
That's what I call heaven.
Yeah.
And when I'm with my dog waking up on a Saturday morning and he's got his paws across my chest, I'm in heaven. That is, I don't have to wait to die to go to heaven. That is heaven for me. But there are a lot of other dogs that are thankful that you're around, Dean Koontz, and for all those dog lovers out there too. Is there a dog in Ashley Bell?
There is a dog in Ashley Bell. Surprise! It's a golden retriever. It's a very different. Actually, there's 2 or 3 golden retrievers in this, but in very different kind of roles. It's not a dog story, but every once in a while, I find a need to put one in.
There's a cult leader with terrifying ambitions. There's a protagonist named Bibi Blair, whose doctor says she has 1 year to live, and they say it's fierce and funny and dauntless. Why is it dauntless?
Well, she's, I've had a couple of strong women in my life and known a couple of others. My mother was physically frail, but very strong emotionally and intellectually. And my wife is a very strong person. And when I come to writing about women, inevitably I go to that kind of model. And the Dauntless is part of that. There's nothing that, Bibi's afraid at times, and rightly so, but there's nothing that in the end she won't stand up against. And I've certainly seen that in my wife, and it's a wonderful thing. It gives you great comfort to be sharing your life with someone like that. So when I write about a woman character, that tends to be the kind I write about. She may have her moments of doubt, but in the end, she knows what to do, and she does it.
And speaking of Jurda, I wonder how many men out there have had the experience that you've had of their wives saying, okay, I'm going to support you, or maybe while they go to school, but while they try to work on their writing career, I'm going to support you for a few years, and we're going to see how this goes, Dean.
Yeah. She actually said for 5 years, and it took almost the full 5 years till I was making a living at it, but a good, decent living at it. And it's an amazing thing to me. It was a great gift, and but it paid off in ways. I think when we did it, and she came to me. I didn't ask her, but then we had to sit down and say, well, how much do I have to make for this to be an actual career? And we decided that if I could make $25,000 a year regularly, that would be a great career. And neither of us ever saw coming what eventually happened. So I get up every morning with great gratitude for my dog, my wife. No, not in that order. For my wife, my dog, and the career readers have given me.
And you're going on your 48th year of marriage?
We just hit our 49th anniversary, so it seems like it's going to last.
It's always a blessing to learn a little more about Dean Koontz every year. The latest novel, the psychological thriller, Ashley Bell. Now available wherever you get great books, right, Dean?
They better be, or I'll need another publisher.
Awesome. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us, Dean Koontz. Have a wonderful, any special things you're doing for the holidays?
I'm in the middle of a new book, so I'll probably take 2 days off at Christmas, and it'll just be family and friends. I don't like anything more than I like that. So it's no exotic vacation, just a little home time.
Have a great time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You
Take
too.
care. Bye-bye. And there he goes, internationally acclaimed novelist Dean Koontz, back with his latest psychological thriller, Ashley Bell, a novel. Dean Koontz, an impressive 14 #1 New York Times best-selling hardcover novel. 16 of his books have risen to the #1 position in paperback, published in some 38 languages. We love it when he speaks English. I'm Dave Rios from the Kona 1011 Morning Show, where yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, and no matter what, today is the gift. That's why it's called the present. Love you. Mean it.